All right, Kylie, so you gave me your lesson plan. It's an explicit instruction lesson plan in language arts. So it's about 15 to 20 minutes on plural nouns. So talk to me about your learning target. What do you hope to accomplish by the end of the lesson?
Well, my learning target is I can make any singular noun plural, and I think it's kind of a broad learning target, but this isn't the first time that this isn't going to be the first time that we visit plural nouns. So at this point, I think their understanding should be more solid, that really any noun, they're going to know how to make it plural.
Okay.
And
so then it's mostly, it's grammar, but then it's going to transform into writing as well. So they have to write it. Are they writing it in text at this point, or just writing individually, changing this noun into this plural noun?
It's within the text. Okay. So they'll identify the noun within the sentence that needs to be made plural, okay, and then put it in. And then apply the rules that they kind of already know. Okay, cool. When I look at your lesson plan, I see you have your instructional strategy that you're going to employ. It's very well thought out, by the way. You have all of your instructional strategies that you're going to employ, and then what the students are going to be doing. And I notice in each of them, it says that they're at the rug, they're looking sharp, and they're listening. I'm worried about engagement in your lesson. So as you're thinking about this and executing this lesson, how are you going to mitigate them being at the rug passively learning and instead being actively engaged? So they're at the rug because I do a lot of my instruction on the Promethean board, and in my lessons there's a lot of interaction with the board. Okay. They're erasing things to find answers, they're going up to fix the words themselves, and so they're at the rug for that quick, easy access. But besides that, we do a lot of pair share, and so any question I present, they know they're expected to turn and talk to their neighbors about it. And again, the rug just makes easy access for that. Instead of at desk, they're limited to one partner. Sometimes at the rug, they have a certain rug buddy, and then I'll say, and now tell another person, and so there's more student interaction. Okay, great. And when they're at the rug, do they have strategic partners, like partnerships that are going to facilitate the conversation that you hope to get? Yes. So my low ELLs are placed near my high ELLs, and besides, it's a behavior thing, but for the most part, it's levels, so that whoever they turn and talk to will be someone that can engage in instructional conversation better than one student might be able to. Okay, so as I go in and look at your lesson, what I am going to be looking at is to see their engagement rates while they're at the rug, to make sure that like when you're questioning or when you're doing the modeling, that they're actively engaged in something. So that'll be some data that I'll be able to gather for you. Are there students that are going to struggle as you go through this sequence? Which students do you think are going to struggle with this one? Salvador is going to have a hard time. He struggles with engagement, and also I think there's a language barrier a lot of times. And so for that reason, he's next to one of my really high ELLs, and in the hopes that you know what I mean, if there is a language problem, that they can sort of help him with that. Whitney will be very engaged, but it takes a lot of repetition for her to understand something. Okay. And so I think she will be there with me, but I don't think it will be there all the way. Right, right. And then Alex, sometimes it depends on the day, but again, like Salvador, sometimes he struggles with the language barrier, I think. Okay. Well, and Whitney's already in special ed, right? Yes, she is. And Salvador... So is Alex. Oh, and Alex is too. Oh, yes. I didn't realize that. And Salvador, we haven't referred yet. I think we're probably on that track to get him referred. Yes. Okay, because we've been able to eliminate that there's a language issue. Yes. Not eliminate. There definitely is a language issue, but there's still... But I think it's a language issue because of other issues. We're working on that. Right now, as I work on the paperwork, I'm deciding whether it's just literacy-based or math as well. So what do you anticipate is going to be your struggle as you implement this lesson? Do you see any places where you feel like, I don't know how that's going to go? Yeah, I think a difficult thing for them is that in the process of changing any noun to plural, they're going to be dealing with irregular changes. It's not just add s. It's not just add s every time, and it's not just add es on certain words. And so that... Sorry. I'm hanging with Sorry. So especially with my high... just my high numbers of second language speakers, they're going to, sometimes I'll say, does that sound right, to say child's, and then does, and to them that sounds fine. That sounds just fine. And so that's the hard role to teach, because there's some that you just have to know.
Yeah.
So that's where repetition is going to come in and play, and I think that's going to be the most difficult thing about this lesson is training their ear to say, is that something I would say? Or I sometimes say, is that something I would say?
Yeah. Because if it's something that you would say,
it's probably
you probably would.
Yeah.
So do you have a chart or anything? I didn't notice it in the lesson plan, but is there a chart that kind of says, if it ends in CH, then you add this,
yes.
or anything?
And like I said, that's a rule that we visited before. So in my my Active Inspire lesson, there is a chart where TCH, X,
okay.
S, those words we end in ES.
Okay.
And that rule they're a lot better at, because they know if we have the word bus and we just add an S, then we're just going to say bus, right? And so then they're very good at saying buses, like that's something they say.
They
so,
can do. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so when I'm going through this, I think one of the things I'm going to look at is pacing, because I'm looking at 15 to 20 minutes, and I see a whole lot of stuff here, and so I'm wondering if that's going to be a struggle. So
I think it will be.
Okay, and so when we debrief, we can look at that and see how that goes. But because you're very thoroughly planned, and maybe a lot of this is just your thorough planning. But if you're shooting for 15 to 20 minutes, I'm not sure if that's going to be your target. The other thing that I'm going to be looking for is entry levels of the types of questions that you're asking, and making sure that Whitney and Salvador and Alex can enter into those lessons. Okay, so all right, so we will. Hi.
Hi, people from the district is looking.
Okay, I'll be right there. Is there anything that you want me to be looking for when I go in?
I think the questioning is the thing that I'm most concerned about. I don't think I always, again, with the entry levels with my questions, I try to make sure it's something everyone can respond to, and think time and all those things, but I think that's something that I personally really need to work on.
Okay. So I'll script the lessons, and then when we debrief, we can look at the types of questions that you asked and see the rigor level. And maybe with a lesson like this, you might end up with DOK 1 and 2 questions all the time. But throughout the lesson, perhaps there's a spot where we can integrate some DOK 3 and 4 level questions. Okay? All right, looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kylie.